The new Overwatch update just came out a few days ago, and much to my surprise, it wasn't complete shit. This update brings us a new co-op event, a sequel of sorts to the Uprising one, new loot box goodies like always, some changes to the matchmaking and report system, and another round of extremely questionable balance changes. If this introduction sounds a lot like the Blizzard World video, well, don't blame me, it's not my fault Blizzard adds the same kind of shit each and every event. Speaking of which, I still can't figure out whether or not I'm supposed to call this event Overwatch Uprising, or Overwatch Retribution, or Overwatch Archives. I know Uprising was last year's event, and Retribution is the one that's advertised in the game right now, but what's the deal with the Archive shit? Did they figure they should just release lore-related content at a faster rate instead of tying them into completely new events? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being too picky, or maybe Blizzard is just incompetent. Either way, let's swoosh right into the meat of things with this year's Uprising Retribution Archive event. Jeez, what a mouthful. The hot new meme out of this patch was the introduction of a brand spanking new 4-player co-op mission featuring the Blackwatch team doing what they do best, getting into trouble. Going into the new mode, I expected something very similar to last year's Uprising event, which I felt was extremely disappointing, to say the least. However, much to my surprise, God, I say that like way too much, this one went above and beyond, greatly surpassing my expectations. And that's a good thing, because I am not easily impressed. Unless, of course, you could do something like this.
Fastest hot dog shooter in the Northwest. I've never seen nobody be able to do this. I can do it quick. Okay? I'm just saying.
You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Instead of starting the mission off with a few static images being narrated by somebody, we are greeted with an actual in-game cutscene. Holy shit, a first for Overwatch, which Blizzard handled fantastically, might I add. I'm pretty sure none of us were actually expecting to see something like this added to the game at all, if ever. You know what I mean? The character select screen is fucking awesome, the enemy variety is great, the banter between the Blackwatch members is top-notch, the map looks fantastic and plays well for this type of gameplay, and due to popular demand from last year, we get to hear more of Reaper's normal voice. Even though I've only played the event a few times, I did enjoy myself, and I am very satisfied with how they handled this event. It was clearly inspired by Left 4 Dead. In fact, that's basically what it is. Overall, the event, while very short, was miles ahead of anything else the Overwatch team has come up with, and for that, I applaud them. From start to finish, I felt like I was actually playing a completely different game, and it makes me wonder why Blizzard hasn't bothered adding a campaign mode to the game. Sure, it's an extremely time-consuming process and would effectively bring in less revenue than just working on cosmetics and updates for the multiplayer aspect of the game, but adding a campaign would make it much easier to build and expand on the lore of Overwatch as a whole. Blizzard is very adamant on world building for this game, yet all they do is constantly retcon shit, release bits and pieces of lore through cinematic cliffhangers, comics that have inconsistent quality, sprays, voice lines, and cancel comics. And while they've been trying to expand the lore for the last 2 years with all these different mediums, these can never hold a candle to a fully fleshed out campaign that actually builds and reveals the lore through gameplay. If this wasn't the case, how would we have known that all the Talon sniper agents are equipped with hooks? How would we have ever figured out that McCree has the absolute worst Italian accent impression of all time, even worse than me? We wouldn't, and the only reason we do know this is because that information was fed to us through gameplay.
Buonasera, Signora. Can I get you something to drink?
Please never do that again.
Along with the Retribution event, Blizzard has brought back the other 4-player co-op mission, Uprising, featuring none other than 3 of the 4 most annoying heroes in the game. I'll let you figure out which ones I'm talking about. Bringing it back was a nice gesture to the people who missed it the first time, but in my opinion, it's kind of boring anyway and they weren't really missing that much. While I do despise limited time events with a passion, it's nice to know that Blizzard has no intention of permanently removing them from the game after the event is over. It just doesn't make any sense from a business standpoint to put so much work and time into a limited time event just to throw it away when it's done. Well, not throw it away, but you know what I mean. So the new mission is pretty frickin' sweet, and the old one was brought back for funsies, but what about the rest of the update? Is it any good? Well, let's find out. First things first, we gotta talk about what the majority of the player base was hyped for some reason. The skins. Doomfist gets what everyone has been waiting for, a Talon skin. Just like Widowmaker's Talon skin, his outfit consists of a black and white color scheme with some hints of red over here and silver over there, and I'm not too sure why he thought it was a smart thing to not cover his torso and only cover his limbs. But hey, at least they can't say that Blizzard does not sexualize men as much as women. He also has hair now, which is pretty cool too, and the red face paint is a nice finishing touch that contrasts greatly from the rest of his outfit, sticking out almost as much as his gauntlet. Honestly, this skin is pretty cool, but I can't tell whether or not Doomfist really belongs to Talon or Desperado from Metal Gear Rising. The resemblance is uncanny. In particular, his legs immediately reminded me of Monsoon. I know Blizzard takes inspiration from other games, but to me it seems like they're just running out of ideas at this point. I mean, there's only so much you can do with an African tribesman from the future anyway. Next is Hanzo. Well, they did say he was the head of the Shimada family after his father passed away, so I guess this is what he wore during that time. I mean, it's not bad, but at least he didn't shit his pants this time. I'd like the skin a lot more if the sides and the back of his vest weren't colored blue, and speaking of which, it's not even a vest. One of his sleeves is ripped off for some reason, and there's like a blue icon on his shoulder, and the other shoulder arm has a... What the fuck is going on with this skin? Yeah, alright, it's not that bad, but you know what? I'm known for being picky and petty, and this is what I do best, so just deal with it. While I do think it's complete garbage, it's a classy look, and I do think it's one of his better skins. However, I feel that the only people that are gonna end up using it are people that actually own fedoras in real life. But hey, it's good to know we have another way to detect whether or not someone is a complete degenerate. Wait, picking Hanzo at all already does this. Lucio! Where have I seen this before? Up next is May. Well, it's good to see Blizzard finally release this skin, however, it's an event too early and half a year too late. It's not a terrible looking skin by any means, but what I'm really concerned about is the fact that when you look at May from the side, it looks like she was ran over by a fucking 18-wheeler. I want to know what the fuck is going on with her back and spine. May needs to see a chiropractor stat. Jesus Christ. And here I thought Widowmaker had back problems. Reaper's new design is, I don't get why it was made. It kind of looks all over the place. I mean, he's wearing urban digitized camouflage pants while wearing a black, dark, big-ass coat, which looks similar to his modern-day one, at least from the back, that is. I guess this is where he took inspiration from. He has a full set of hair and his beard looks a little different, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't look bad, and like all the other Blackwatch and Talon skins, I get extreme Metal Gear vibes from it. At least he doesn't look like a member of Desperado like Doomfist. On second thought, wouldn't it be a good thing if he looked like them? I mean, he is Mexican after all. Haha, get it? This skin makes him look like one of the good guys. I could see him fighting alongside Solid Snake actually. He looks like he wouldn't be too out of place. But hey, if you played any Metal Gear, you would know that Kojima doesn't fuck around when it comes to the weapons department. One thing that I'm kind of disappointed with is that the new Reaper skin and old Blackwatch skin still don't change his voice to the way he used to sound before actually becoming the Reaper. They did have his voice actor record all voice lines that are usable during a game, but they limit you to only being able to use them during the Retribution event. I'm sure it's not too much trouble to actually have the voice actor record a bunch of new lines for future character interactions and whatnot, but the fact that Blizzard is behind the wheel makes me feel like they'll just keep it exclusively for the Retribution event and say, we can't do it because it would confuse new players. As if Genji and Hanzo both screaming in Japanese didn't confuse new players enough. Shit, I remember back in open beta, I couldn't tell which one of them was using their ultimate. I also remember when people used to shit their pants over High Noon. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Sombra, I'm happy that at one point in her life she actually used to see a decent hairstylist. However, she needs to speak to the manager of the department in Talon that's in charge of making her outfit. Holy fuck. Her whole gimmick is being a stealthy, hacker-like character, yet she's running around in bright white armor. Even better, if she's supposed to be like a spy, why is she running around with fucking Talon armor on to begin with? How is she supposed to do her job if she advertises that she works for Talon? And what's with the permanent fucking laser sight? How is she supposed to take out targets without notice if she can't turn the fucking thing off? Wait a second, I'd never realized it until now, but why is a character that is supposed to be a spy, that's supposed to be invisible, supposed to go stealthy and, you know, like, shh, all that shit. Why are they using an unsilenced weapon? Jesus fucking Christ, what a mess. And I don't mean just the skin, just the overall design of Sombra's character altogether. I wouldn't be surprised if the only reason why Talon keeps her around is because they just make fun of her for being such a shitty spy. I mean, who the hell yells, "Been here all along," in the ear of the person that they're trying to sneak up to? Like the rest of the darker themed skins, I get serious Metal Gear vibes from this one, specifically the pattern on her skirt. It just reminds me of the VR missions and the opening of Metal Gear Solid 2 for some reason. And, that's pretty much it for Sombra. She's a mess. Winston, it's...
Okay, I guess.
I don't really have much to say about it, other than it looks like they took his default skin and just altered it slightly. It's not garbage, but it's not one of his better looking ones. I feel that people that actually play Winston are very disappointed. I don't play Winston too much, but I can see why people will be upset with this. This is actually kind of like why even bother releasing the fucking skin if it's gonna look the same? If I didn't know any better, like during a game, if I was like going up against a Winston, or if there was a Winston on my team, I wouldn't know he would have been, like, I wouldn't know if he was wearing the new skin unless the guy told me, you know? Like, that's really bad. Holy shit. Saving the best for last, Moira finally gets a good skin, and holy cannoli, it's about fucking time. She's wearing what appears to be the same kind of armor that Mercy uses, but in a darker color scheme, and I have to say, she looks damn fine in it. A little too fine, actually. Am I dreaming? Is this real life? It's sleek, sexy, not to mention looks like something someone would actually wear. Compared to her other over-designed Battleborn default skin with the bright purple color scheme that already has been used by another hero introduced not too long ago, it looks amazing. I didn't even mention the fact that now people actually have a reason to get the golden weapon for her, because you could actually see the golden gauntlets now. Wonderful, outstanding, just a fucking solid 10 out of 10. In fact, pushing it to 11 wouldn't be that far-fetched. I just can't get over how good she looks. Never in 6 gorillion years did I ever expect to want one of Moira's skins, and to top it all off, she actually looks attractive now. She doesn't remind me of that one motherfucker from Crash Bandicoot with the metal faceplate and rockets stuck in his head anymore. Why the fuck does she even have the metal faceplate to begin with? And the second set of eyebrows? What the fuck, man? I spent about 10 minutes in Photoshop removing them just to see how different she'd look, and my god, does she look 100 times better without it. She's actually kind of cute now. Like last year, along with the new skins, some new voice line sprays, player icons, victory poses, and highlight intros were added as well. The voice lines, just like every other event, with the exception of Moira's, are boring, pointless, and are not interesting in the slightest. How is it that out of all the heroes in the game, Moira is the only one that has any sort of personality that can't be described with more than one sentence? Every single thing Moira says, whether it's in-game banter, a voice line, whatever, it reminds me of TF2. She's so sarcastic and full of herself. I'm surprised they even added a character like this in the game to begin with all the crybabies playing. Unsurprisingly, the only good victory poses added to this patch were the Junker mugshots, which should have been in the game since the beginning, or at least added during the Junkertown update. The Orisa one is cute, but it just screams lazy because it's a loop of last year's Winter Wonderland puppy emote, and the Moira one is bugged if you use it with an Overwatch League skin. As usual, the only good sprays added were the Pachimari ones, and the new player icons are just whatever at best. I must say, though, out of all the new disappointing player icons added this patch, Sombra has got it the worst. They actually gave her a fucking beard. Are they implying that Hispanic women are hairy? How racially insensitive can you be, Blizzard? I thought you were a progressive and culturally diverse company. It's the current year. What the fuck, man? Jeff, are you really going to let this one slide? Well, now that I think about it, there was one Hispanic girl in college I knew that did have a beard. Normally, I tend to shy away from covering any sort of balance changes in my videos because I like focusing on the actual event and things that come with it. And, well, you know the deal already. Usually, I'll just do that, unless, of course, it makes absolutely no sense, so I'm going to cover a balance change that makes absolutely no sense. I ask those of you watching, God, I sound like a fucking president of the United States. What am I supposed to do, my Obama impression or my Donald Trump impression? Fuck it, I'll do both. Now, I ask those of you watching, did you really think that anyone believed Zenyatta needed a nerf out of all the supports.
Out of all the supports, Zen's the one that gets hit. What about Moira and Bridget?
Sorry about that. Learning when and where to use Zen's right-click rewarded players with a consistent and strong attack. Using his charged attack and actually landing the shots are two completely different things, and it's way harder than it seems. By lowering the rate of fire, it just gives players less of a reason to use it. I mean, I thought Zen was supposed to be more of a DPS-focused healer, so why make his job harder? What's next? Nerfing the healing orbs so they only heal someone if they stay in line of sight? No, wait, Jeff, don't! Before we wrap things up, there's something I really want to bring up with everyone. A long time ago, in fact, a very long time ago, Blizzard used to have a feature called Avoid a Player, which, when used, would stop you from queuing up with a player in particular for whatever reason you wish. Blizzard removed the feature because a lot of people were abusing the system by avoiding players that were better than them. In one particular case, a Widowmaker player ended up with an extremely long queue time because of this. In my very first video I ever made, titled How to Fix Overwatch Competitive, I talk about 4 things that I think could fix the problems we encounter while playing in competitive. Can you guess what one of the 4 changes I suggested were? That's right, bringing back Avoid Player, but for your teammates only. I don't know why it took Blizzard so long to do this. They could have easily made the change instead of completely removing the feature, causing millions of players to end up with the same shitter in competitive who dropped our SR all the way down to the 10th circle of hell. The good thing is, it's back, but the bad thing is they limit you by only letting you avoid 2 people for 1 week at max. My only guess is that if they let you avoid any more than 2 players a week, queue times would be fucked even more than they already are, since most of the player base already left the game for Fortnite months ago, and they can't afford to lose any more. Despite adding more useless cosmetics, making unnecessary balance changes, and reintroducing an old feature now labeled as new, I feel that the Retribution event and the fact that we can now use Avoid Player again is more than enough to make up for it. This event is probably the best one Blizzard has made so far, and I hope they continue to add more missions like this one to the game in the future. At some point, I do hope these missions are available to play all year round, because I do enjoy PvE quite a bit, and I'm sure plenty of other people do as well. But let's be real here, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. Blizzard needs a way to keep people coming back for more during these events anyway. Even with the aforementioned shortcomings, overall, I give the Overwatch Retribution event a solid 8 out of 10. Great job, Blizzard. Can't wait to see what you pull out of your ass next time. That's it for this week. Let me know what you think about the Overwatch Retribution event in the comments section below, and please be sure to remind me if I missed anything. I'm probably not going to make a video about it, so if you want to embarrass me, do it now. As always, leave a like if you thought it was somewhat entertaining, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, if you like what you see. I currently upload 1 video each Sunday, so be sure to visit again next week. Also, I have a Discord server, the link is in the description below, please feel free to check it out. There you can find other people to play with, you can find outdated memes, be part of inside jokes, and share porn, because let's be real here, it's the only reason why people keep coming back. Anyway, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoy the event, and I'll see you next week. Later.